Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Blow Daz.
Osweiler Aidan.
Here we are, Sports Edition. Remember, if sports is for you, like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Do appreciate it. We're doing very well at the moment, thanks to you. So if you're watching, just give us a little subscribe and help us grow. We do appreciate it.
We do.
Ranking the craziest NFL free agent deals of all time, from worst to first. Now, I know how a free agent deal works. I'm not sure how it works in the NFL.
Yeah.
Obviously, out of contracts, no renewal, or they can renew with the same team they're on.
Yeah,
I guess the contract they've got
choose not to. I guess sometimes.
Yeah, some choose not to.
Or like they'll go into the free agency and they'll get offers probably from their same team and then from other teams, and they can choose.
Well. Yeah, but there's no transfer fees, is there? With like free agent deals.
No,
like we haven't used transfer fees work different in European football. Obviously, you've got the you have to buy the player and then give them a contract. So there's like a signing fee where I don't think there is in the NFL, is there?
Nah.
I don't think signing fees are
There might be.
Yeah. I don't think the team gets...
A rookie would get a sign-on fee.
Yeah, but I think sometimes they do a trade, don't they? For they'll say you can take such a player, but we want your first round draft pick.
Right.
I'm not sure if fees transfer hands for... so if someone, let's say for instance, someone wants to buy, I don't know, let's say... give me a player, name a player.
Devontae Adams.
Someone wants to sign Devontae Adams, and they say, "I'll give you $3 million, and we'll take him, and then we'll give him his own deal."
Nah, I don't think
that works. That's how it works over here.
Yeah.
So, but ranking the craziest NFL free agent deals of all time from worst to first.
Free agency completely changes the landscape of professional sports. When a player's contract is up, he can go to any team and drastically alter the balance of power in the league. The NFL is no different. All it takes is one crazy deal, and all of a sudden, the landscape of the NFL looks entirely new. And this isn't just when a team signs a great player a la Tampa Bay, bringing Tom Brady into the fold. We've also seen quite a few franchises completely capsize their Super Bowl hopes before the season even starts. So, let us take a look back throughout the years at 10 of the craziest NFL free agent deals that we've ever seen. Number 10, Jacksonville Jaguars. Nick Foles, 2019. At the time that the Jacksonville Jaguars inked Nick Foles to a 4-year, $88 million contract, there seemed to be a pervasive skepticism among NFL fans about the Jags' hopes that Foles could replicate his Super Bowl MVP performance across an entire season. Considering that Foles spent the better part of his career, with the exception of his stunning 2013 campaign and the equally stunning Super Bowl run, as a backup fringe starter type of guy, the deal just seemed like a rather risky gamble, especially considering the first time that Foles cashed in on that aforementioned 2013 campaign, he was unable to duplicate his success the following year. In this case, we never really got a chance to see what he could have done in Jacksonville. Foles suffered a broken clavicle in the first game of the season, and upon return, just struggled to regain his form. When all is said and done, his tenure with the Jaguars is only one season. And then he was traded to the Bears, leaving the Jaguars with significant dead money against them.
I was just going to say, I don't remember him playing for the Jaguars.
No, I didn't either.
I remember him from the Eagles.
Yeah.
Because I think he won the Super Bowl with the Eagles, didn't he? But then I just don't remember him going to the Jaguars. But I guess for a season, that's probably why. Probably blew past us without us even knowing.
Especially if he got injured in the first game.
Yeah.
Their cap and unfulfilled expectations. Number 9, Philadelphia Eagles, DeMarco Murray, 2015. 2014 was a heck of a year for DeMarco Murray. The Dallas Cowboys built their offense around the burly running back, and man did he eat. Murray led the league in yards with 1,845 and touchdowns with 13, en route to a first-team All-Pro selection and AP Offensive Player of the Year honors. Following a record-breaking season with Dallas, the Cowboys' division rival Philadelphia Eagles decided that it was time to make a move and signed Murray to a 5-year, $42 million
It's quite mad going
deal.
from Dallas to
Unfortunately for the Philly faithful, past performance was not indicative of futures.
I think it's a bit mad going to any divisional rivals, isn't it?
Yeah, you would have thought so.
Because you've got Saquon Barkley, he's gone on a free agency from New York Giants to Philadelphia. Yeah.
Success. The DeMarco Murray experience went south fast in the city of brotherly love. Murray never really fit into the offensive scheme that the Eagles were running at the time, and just had a hard time getting anything going. Furthermore, it turned out that the Cowboys had really run him into the ground the year prior, as Murray carried the ball a league-leading and astronomical 392 times. The former All-Pro saw his yards per attempt drop from 4.7 in 2014 to 3.6 with the Eagles in 2015. And, well, he ended up losing his starting job midway throughout the season. Murray finished with just 702 yards and 6 touchdowns during his lone season in Philadelphia, marking one of the craziest free agent deals gone wrong in recent memory. Number 8, Seattle Seahawks. Matt Flynn, 2012. To say that the sample size was small for Matt Flynn prior to the Seahawks inking him to a deal that was sizable for the time and a player of his status would be a massive understatement. In fact, it was really just one record-setting game that he had with the Packers that allowed the perennial backup quarterback to actually cash in. In the final game of the 2012 NFL season, Flynn was slotted in for Aaron Rodgers, as the then 14-1 Packers were resting key starters in a meaningless game against the Detroit Lions. And, well, Flynn seized the moment, chucking the ball all game to the tune of 480 passing yards and 6 touchdowns, including a last-minute game winner to Jermichael Finley to seal the victory. The media ran with the story, and the Seahawks bought it hook, line, and sinker. Flynn signed a nice-sized deal with the Seahawks, but was quickly overtaken by third-round draft pick Russell Wilson as the starter during training camp. Number 7, Detroit Lions, Scott Mitchell, 1994. Prior to Jared Goff and Matt Stafford, the Detroit Lions' attempts at finding a franchise quarterback was a comedy of errors. A great example of this was the decision to sign Scott Mitchell to a multi-year deal after he had the tiniest bit of success with the Miami Dolphins. He started just 7 games for Miami in 1993, where he completed 57.1% of his passes for 1,773 yards.
Don't know this guy.
No, I don't.
New to me.
94 is a bit going back a bit for me.
Yeah, when did I get to the USA? 96.
12 touchdowns to 8 INTs. Decent, but not exactly anything that would or should scream, build your franchise around this guy. Though he did have one good season with the Lions in 1995, the rest of his career in Detroit went just about as expected, as Mitchell was plagued by inconsistency and was overall underwhelming. Number 6, New York Jets, Neil O'Donnell, 1996. The New York Jets at least had their sights set on a guy who was able to lead the Steelers to the Super Bowl in Neil O'Donnell, rather than a part-time starter like Scott Mitchell. Either way, though, the end result ended up being alarmingly similar. After O'Donnell's aforementioned Super Bowl appearance with Pittsburgh, he signed a big, at least at the time, 5-year, $25 million contract, and it went just about as bad as it could have. Admittedly, he did battle some injuries during his first season and made just 6 starts. But when he was out there,
they weren't even wearing boots then. He had like trainers on.
Yeah, they got the AstroTurf, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's the AstroTurf's little pellets. Remember when we played football last week?
Yeah.
And we both wore cleats.
Yeah.
And the pitch was awful, and we were slipping all over in cleats. And we said what we need is them ones with the little rubber studs. Them.
Yeah, I know.
So it's probably on that. And you look at the AstroTurf. The AstroTurf looks very similar to what we were playing on the other day.
Yeah, I just find it a bit weird to play football on that though. Why are they playing football on that? Why not grass or some even longer AstroTurf?
A lot of it was AstroTurf back in the day. Yeah.
Released during his first season and made just 6 starts.
Especially in the cold weather areas.
When he was out there, it wasn't pretty. O'Donnell and the Jets ended up losing all 6 of his starts, and the quarterback was given the boot from the Jets after playing just 2 years in New York. Number 5, Philadelphia Eagles, Nnamdi Asomugha, 2011. As a collective, the 2011 Philadelphia Eagles were one of the most disappointing teams that the NFL has ever seen. They were loaded with big names all over the roster and underperformed magnificently. Of all the perpetrators, Nnamdi Asomugha might be the absolute worst. When the Eagles signed him to a 5-year, $60 million deal, he was considered to be one of the best cornerbacks in the league. He had a stunning level of athleticism to match his frame.
Seems a lot for a cornerback.
I don't know.
A cornerback. I know they're in important positions, marking the receivers and all that sort of thing. But is that a lot for a cornerback? Seems a lot.
Well, I mean, if he was considered one of the best in the league, then you're going to give him a lot.
Just seems a hell of a lot for a cornerback.
Cornerbacks are almost just as important as your wide receivers, if you really think about it.
If you put it in the way of marking and the way they do that, but just seems a hell of a lot for me.
Yeah.
And could shut down opposing wideouts with the best of them. Unfortunately for the Eagles, Asomugha's performance dramatically declined almost immediately after he signed that 5-year contract with them. Wonder if there was any correlation there. After failing to live up to that lockdown corner reputation that he had built up with the Raiders prior to his time in Philly, Asomugha quickly fell out of favor with Eagles fans, then management, and then he was released after just 2 seasons, marking one of the worst free agent acquisitions.
Can you get released even if you've got a 5-year contract, or do they just pay out the whole contract and then you go?
I don't know if they pay out the whole contract. I think
But that's the whole point of a contract.
I know, but someone's going to have to explain to us how the contract works in the USA, because I've heard things like people say like he signed a $180 million contract with a $50 million guaranteed, and I'm like, was he getting 180 million or is he getting 50 million? Where does the difference made up from?
It was like 180 million if he stays.
It could be. Long. It could be a guarantee, because we give you a 2-year, 3-year guarantee. Maybe I don't know if that's what it is. I'm just assuming it, or it could be based on success. That you get 180 million, if you get through to the divisional playoffs, you get through to the finals, you get through to the Super Bowl, and you win the Super Bowl, you get MVP.
Yeah.
Maybe that makes up, the rest of the money. But I don't know. Someone's going to have to explain it to me. I'm not 100% sure on it, how it works.
Yeah.
That we have ever seen.
Number 4, contract break.
Houston Texans, Brock Osweiler, 2016. The Brock Osweiler Odyssey in Houston was a puzzling one. There were some expectations for him after he looked decent during his spot starts for an aging Peyton Manning in Denver the year prior, but let's face it, that Broncos team was loaded with talent on both sides of the ball. Granted, he went 5-2 during those 7 starts, completing over 61% of his throws and generally protected the football. But again, that was a Super Bowl ready squad. It's hard to believe that anyone in the Houston front office seriously thought that it would be a good idea to sign the lanky quarterback to a 4-year, $72 million contract, or that he would be able to improve upon or at least replicate the already modest performance that he had in Denver. But alas, they did. Osweiler struggled massively, completing just 59% of his passes for 2,957 yards and 15 touchdowns to 16 interceptions. The tape, truthfully, was worse than the counting numbers. He looked completely out of sorts and unable to orchestrate a professional offense. Shortly after the season's conclusion, Houston decided that they had seen enough and shipped him out of town at a massive loss, eating up dead cap money and having to tack a second-round draft pick on him to get anyone to absorb his contract. Yeesh, talk about a crazy bad free agent signing. Not only did it waste an entire season for Houston, but also a second-rounder. Number 3, Dallas Cowboys, Mike Vanderjagt, 2006. There was a time, long before the Justin Tucker era, that Mike Vanderjagt was the cream of the crop in the NFL when it came to kickers. He broke into the NFL at 28 with the Indianapolis Colts and kicked for them for 8 good years. In fact, at the time that Dallas inked Vanderjagt to this dubious contract, he was statistically the most accurate kicker that the game had ever seen. Now, there was some inherent advantages that he had, as he played in a dome in Indy, and was a part of that high-powered Peyton Manning-led Colts offense, meaning that there weren't a ton of high-pressure or long-distance kick that he really had to make. But come on, we're talking about the most accurate kicker in NFL history at the time. The Cowboys thought that adding Vanderjagt was a can't-lose proposition. Though, it is worth noting that there were some red flags from his time in Indy. You see, after a playoff loss in 2003, Vanderjagt ripped the Colts head coach, Tony Dungy, and Peyton Manning, which ultimately resulted in Manning calling him an idiot kicker who got liquored up and ran his mouth. Either way, his time in Dallas and the decision to give Van...
I don't think
I kind of vaguely remember that story.
Oh no, but I don't think if you're the kicker, I don't feel like you have any position to start speaking up about. Do you know what I mean? Like
They normally get the most points in the season.
No, I know, but like you can't start calling out the quarterback as a kicker.
Not when he's Manning.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, he's not when he's one of the best players ever played the game. But I remember Vanderjagt. I remember him being really good with the Colts sort of thing. But I remember that story vaguely. When something sticks in your mind, and then he kicked off with the rest of the team and got thrown out. Just sticks in your mind a little bit.
$2.5 million signing bonus and another $800,000 in salary as a free agent were
That kid's smart,
ultimately
isn't it?
disastrous. Vanderjagt was cut mid-season due to poor performance, as he hit just a hair over 70% of his kicks and never played another snap in the NFL. Number 2, Oakland Raiders, Larry Brown, 1996. Larry Brown's is a name that'll go down both in the record books and in infamy for different organizations, as he embarked on a tumultuous journey from being named Super Bowl MVP with the Dallas Cowboys to a lucrative deal and ultimately massively disappointing deal with the Raiders. Brown was beloved in Dallas for securing 2 interceptions off of Steelers QB Neil O'Donnell, helping the Cowboys to win in Super Bowl 30. But he could never really recreate that magic with the Raiders. In fact, it didn't take long until opposing teams were regularly targeting the defensive back that was supposed to be their shutdown corner. Brown's challenges on the field were compounded by injuries and off-the-field issues, further limiting his impact and availability for the Raiders. Then, after 2 disappointing seasons, the Raiders had enough and cut Brown, despite the fact that he had played just 12 games for them on a 5-year, $12.5 million deal. A tough scene across the board. You have to think Larry Brown might wish that he never left the comforts of Dallas for a payday and the path unknown. Honestly, if he had never moved, he could have just gone down as a legend.
I know, right?
Number 1, Washington Commanders, Albert Haynesworth, 2009. There may never be a free agent signing worse than Albert Haynesworth. Despite his character concerns, folks in Washington were excited about the prospects of bringing him into town, as Haynesworth was coming off back-to-back Pro Bowl and All-Pro seasons with the Tennessee Titans, where he recorded a total of 14.5 sacks across the 2007 and 2008 seasons, which is pretty insane for an interior lineman. Unfortunately for the Washington faithful, the excitement came to a screeching halt shortly after he signed that 7-year, $100 million contract.
7
Haynesworth's
years.
production plummeted, and his effort and commitment were continuously questioned. Haynesworth appeared in just 20 games over 2 seasons with Washington, recording a mere 6.5 sacks, a far cry from his performance with the Titans. What made matters even worse was Haynesworth was eager to blame everyone but himself and regularly clashed with head coach Mike Shanahan and defensive coordinator Jim Haslett, both behind closed doors and in the media. It was always something with Haynesworth, man. He was benched, suspended, all of it, then eventually sent out of town at a massive loss. His signing not only tanked the team's performance, but put them in a terrible position financially and marked one of the worst free agent deals that we've ever seen. But which of these NFL free agent deals do you think was the craziest?
Some of them I've not heard of. But when you think,
I was expecting them to be good. They're all like meant to be bad ones, weren't they?
Yeah.
When he said craziest, I thought it was going to be like crazy good.
Yeah, that was the other side of it as well. But when you're arguing with some of the top coaches like Mike Shanahan and people like that,
You can't do that. I don't think you can argue with the coach at all.
shouldn't be
Even if
arguing.
you think you're like.
I mean, if you're the top quarterback and you've got a poor team and the coach is giving you you 1-15, then yeah, you might be able to have something to say.
Yeah.
Probably the coach might not still be there if that's the case, but
yeah,
you've got some sort of like you can back and forth with them in a constructive kind of way, but to fall out with them and call them names and criticise them is a little bit more, unprofessional, let's say.
Yeah.
But some of them I wasn't sure of. Never heard of some of them. But some of them definitely. Ones. Some of them there, prime. In the day. I mean, the Larry Brown.
Yeah.
Could have stayed at the Cowboys and just been a legend forever.
Yeah, that's why it's like if you're doing so well, it happens so many times, even in other sports. Like they're doing so well at one club or team, and then they change teams, and then they like if it's not broken, don't fix it. Stay with that team, and if you're doing really well, I know you might want to change.
Some people do it just out of let's see how Saquon Barkley does now at Philadelphia. I'm sure he'll do well because Philly's quite a strong team already.
No, he's going to do shit, man.
He's going into a probably like a reference to use their Super Bowl ready team. They are up there.
I don't think they will though.
But, interesting to see. There you go. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.